Hello, and welcome to Relaxing Sleep Stories for Adults, where I tell you relaxing tales to help you drift off to dreamland. I'm here to guide you through a peaceful and soothing bedtime experience. Today's story is called The Knight and the Dragon, and it's about a knight named Sir Reginald that faces off against a fearsome dragon threatening the realm. Before we begin, I want you to get comfortable in your bed. Find a position that feels good for you and relax your body and mind. Take a deep breath in and exhale slowly. Feel the tension melt away from your muscles and let go of any worries or thoughts that might keep you awake. Just focus on my voice and the sound of the gentle music in the background. Now, let's begin our story. It was a dark and stormy night in the kingdom of Loria. The people were terrified, for they knew that the dragon was coming. The dragon had been terrorizing the land for many years, burning villages, stealing cattle, and devouring anyone who crossed its path. The king had offered a large reward to anyone who could slay the beast, but no one had dared accept the challenge, except for one brave knight named Sir Reginald. He was a young and handsome knight who had a reputation for being fearless and noble. He had sworn to protect the kingdom from the dragon, and he had spent many days and nights preparing for the battle. He had sharpened his sword, polished his armor, and trained his horse. He had also studied the legends and lore about dragons, hoping to find a weakness in the creature. He set out from the castle on his trusty steed, carrying a shield with the emblem of a lion, the symbol of his family. He rode through the forest, following the trail of smoke and ashes that the dragon had left behind. He knew he was getting closer to the dragon's lair, a cave in the side of a mountain. He reached the foot of the mountain and dismounted from his horse. He tied his horse to a tree and took his sword and shield in his hands. He looked up at the cave and felt a surge of courage. He said a silent prayer and then entered the dark opening. He walked cautiously through the cave, listening for any sound of the dragon. He saw bones and skulls of animals and humans scattered around the ground and smelled a foul odor of rotting flesh. He felt a blast of hot air in his face and heard a loud roar. He knew he had found the dragon. He turned a corner and saw the dragon in front of him. It was huge, with scales of red and black, wings of leather, claws of steel, and teeth of fire. It had 2 horns on its head and a long tail that whipped around. It glared at him with yellow eyes and snarled. Sir Reginald raised his sword and shield and faced the dragon. He shouted, "I am Sir Reginald, Knight of Loria. I have come to slay you, foul beast. Prepare to meet your doom." The dragon laughed, a deep and menacing sound. It said, "You are Sir Reginald? You are nothing but a fool. You think you can defeat me? I have killed hundreds of knights like you. You are no match for me." Sir Reginald did not flinch. He said, "You are wrong, dragon. You are not invincible. You have a weakness, and I know what it is. The dragon sneered. It said, "What weakness? I have no weakness. I am the strongest creature in this world. What do you know about me?" Sir Reginald smiled. He said, "I know that you're afraid of water. I know that water can extinguish your fire breath. I know that water can make your scales soft and brittle. I know that water can drown you." The dragon gasped. It said, "How do you know that? How did you find out?" Sir Reginald said, "I read it in an old book of magic. It was written by a wise wizard who studied dragons for many years. He said that water is your only enemy." The dragon growled. It said, "That wizard was a liar. He wanted to trick people into thinking they could defeat me. Water does not harm me. Water does nothing to me." Sir Reginald said, "Then prove it. Prove that water does not affect you. Let me see you breathe fire on this pool of water." He pointed at a small pool of water that was near the cave wall. It was fed by a stream that ran through the cave. The dragon looked at the pool of water suspiciously. It said, "Why should I do that? Why should I waste my fire on such a trivial thing?" Sir Reginald said, "Because if you don't do it, I will think that you're afraid. I will think that you're lying. I will think that you are weak." The dragon roared angrily. It said, "I am not afraid. I am not lying. I am not weak. I will show you my power. I will show you my fire." The dragon opened its mouth wide and breathed out a stream of fire towards the pool of water. But as soon as the fire touched the water, it sputtered and fizzled out. The water splashed back at the dragon's face, making it scream in pain. The water burned its eyes and made its scales crack. The water entered its mouth and choked its throat. The water filled its lungs and drowned its heart. The dragon fell to the ground, dead. Sir Reginald watched in awe as the dragon's body stopped moving. He had done it. He had killed the dragon. He had saved the kingdom. He ran to the dragon's corpse and cut off one of its horns with his sword. He took it as a trophy and proof of his victory. He then ran back to his horse and mounted it. He rode out of the cave and back to the castle. He arrived at the castle and was greeted with cheers and applause. The king and queen came out to meet him and congratulated him on his heroic deed. They gave him a medal of honor and a bag of gold. They also offered him the hand of their daughter, the princess, in marriage. Sir Reginald accepted their gifts gratefully and kissed the princess. She was beautiful and kind, and he loved her at first sight. They were married the next day and lived happily ever after. The end. That was the story of The Knight and the Dragon. I hope you liked it. Good night and sweet dreams.